Welcome to the Krista Escamilla Show, the Health and Wellness Edition, brought to you by Midland Cap and Cup.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Krista Escamilla Show. I'm so happy that you're spending a part of your day with us today. We really appreciate your time. We know it is precious, and we thank you for choosing us. I'm very excited to introduce my guest today, a friend of mine for a few years. We've known each other now, and I am just so proud of the philanthropy and her advocacy that she does every single day for Alzheimer's, and it is a pleasure to introduce, Mary Wright-McCourt. Thank you, Mary, for being
Krista.
here today.
Thanks for having me.
Mary is the co-founder of Angie's Babies and recently Jerry's Puppies. I am just so proud of you for all that you are doing, and I can't wait for you to share your story. How did this begin?
Angie's Babies came together through what I can describe as grief. I lost my dad in 2017 after a 14-year battle with Alzheimer's. And then he was in the same nursing home with Angie Clark. And Angie passed away 6 months later after a 14-year battle with Alzheimer's as well.
Wow.
And so my co-founder and I, Julie Gray, we were always at the nursing home, always. We were there looking after our loved ones plus 22 other people on the hall. You know, we adopted them. They were our aunts, our uncles. We were their advocate, and we were their protectors. And so whenever our loved ones had passed away, we were lost. You know, we were used to being needed, you know. And there, the majority of our free time, we were at the facility.
Right.
And so we were just we didn't know what to do. And I thought, you know, we needed to do something to honor my dad and Angie. And so we came up with Angie's Babies.
I love it. I love it. And we are going to show Angie's Babies in just a minute. We also have Jerry's Puppies here.
Yeah.
And I think this is such a beautiful addition to Angie's Babies.
Yeah.
Tell us how Jerry's Puppies came to be.
Well, you know, we were giving dolls to ladies with Alzheimer's on Mother's Day, right? Because Alzheimer's never takes away the memory of being a mom. And then I thought, you know, we're leaving the men out. And so my dad had 3 dogs that he loved, especially later in his battle when he was living on his own. These 3 dogs were just his life. And I thought, well, you know, most men maybe would remember a special pet that they had,
right,
you know, in better times. And so we thought, you know, let's just come up with puppy dogs.
I love it.
And so we did Jerry's Puppies. And last year was the first year that we combined Angie's Babies and Jerry's Puppies.
I love it. And first of all, I'm so sorry for what you went through in the experience. And I know that Alzheimer's is so hard on the family members.
Oh, yeah.
And what you're doing is helping not only those that are suffering with Alzheimer's, but also the families as well.
Oh, I have a story for you.
Oh, I can't wait. I love stories. Tell it, Mary. Let me hear.
You know, what we typically serve are the under-acknowledged facilities, the ones that nobody goes back to, right? They're not the cleanest. You know, the residents are not taken care of, but that's usually where we flock to, are the underserved. And 2 years ago, we had some extra dolls, and we thought we would go to the nicest facility in the Permian Basin, I feel. And it was on Mother's Day, and we walked in, and we could hear this woman just crying. She couldn't be consoled. She was just, I don't know, because Alzheimer's, you never know what's going to trigger, you know, that moment. And her daughters were standing there, and we just kind of... we didn't want to invade their privacy, but we said, would it be okay if we handed your mom an Angie's Babies? And the daughters looked at me and they said, how did you know? And I was like, what? And she said, she was crying for her baby.
Oh.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
So we gave this baby.
The tears
I know. I have
and
chills.
The chills. Oh my goodness.
We handed this baby to this lady, and she automatically cradled it and loved on it and stopped crying.
Stop crying. Yeah.
So you never know that moment that you're going to make a difference in somebody's life.
Right. And you were there at the right time.
Yeah,
I mean, it was God's plan.
It was.
I truly believe that. You
Yeah.
know, I say it on the show a lot, that everything happens for a reason, and God's got a plan, and you were there at that moment for a reason. And think of how many other families you are blessing now each year. How many babies will you distribute this year?
This year we're between 500 and 600.
Okay.
Dolls.
That is amazing.
As a total, over the past four years, we've probably given away maybe 6,000 dolls.
That is fantastic. And in our area, how many patients do we have with Alzheimer's approximately?
Well, you know, in Texas alone, there's 400,000 people living with Alzheimer's.
Oh my goodness.
400,000. And, you know, and we're living longer, so those numbers just keep growing.
Right.
And so, gosh, I don't know. We go to at least 5 or 6 facilities in Midland, plus 5 or 6 in Odessa.
Okay.
And leave dolls. And then also we keep a stash of dolls in our homes in case an outlying area like Andrews or Crane or McCamey or somebody else, Stanton, they call and they're like, Mary, do you have any Angie's babies? And normally we do. And so we'll make sure that we drop those babies off, or if they live here locally, we'll take them to them. We have also given dolls to homebound seniors.
Wow, that's wonderful.
With the disease, yeah.
I just love the impact that you're making. And just like that story you told, how does it make you feel, you and your co-founder? Because I know you wanted to keep helping, you know, and this was your way of doing it. How does that make you feel when you see those families, or when you drop them off and you see the faces light up?
There is not a better feeling. There's not a better feeling. And the size dolls that we leave, they're 20-inch dolls, and so they're perfect cradle type, cradle size. You know, you can hold them and love on them. And we're
gonna show one. We're gonna call for Al. We're gonna have him come bring us one of the dolls here in a minute, just so we can show for those that are watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, or if you're listening on any of your favorite podcasts, go to YouTube and you can see the dolls. So Al, oh, look at this. I love what this does for, I mean, because it does it for my heart, because as a mom of 4, I can imagine, because boy, do I miss mine being little like this and cradling that baby. It makes your heart feel so happy just to hold the baby. Thank you, sweetie, for bringing those in. I love what this is doing for families. What is your goal? Where do you want this to go?
You know, what I would like, if you don't live in the Permian Basin or in West Texas, I would like to see every community all over the country adopt our concept. And on Mother's Day, take baby dolls to ladies with Alzheimer's in nursing homes. I would like to see it, you know, just be bigger than West Texas, even though West Texas, I believe, has the biggest heart.
Yes,
you know,
sure.
I would like to see it just become huge in every community.
I like it. See my sign here? Dream big. I could see this in every community across America.
And, you know, it's not like we're asking for hundreds of dollars. We're just asking for $11.
That is
and
fantastic.
you can have a baby doll, $11.
That is fantastic.
Now, this is the size that we prefer. It's the perfect cradle size, and there's not a lot of bells and whistles, as we like to say, not a lot of pacifiers or bottles or things that could be a choking hazard.
Right.
Because, you know, in Alzheimer's, a lot of things end up in their mouth. And so we don't want to cause any issues either.
Right. And it's the perfect size. I mean, it is the size of a newborn baby.
Right?
And I mean, I love it. I love everything about what you're doing.
See,
and
whenever you take it, how you're cradling it.
Yeah, I'm cradling it. I mean, I feel like I'm holding a baby, and I can imagine what it does for those that are living with Alzheimer's. And
you know, this baby, it's more than a baby doll. It's a companion. It's if they're having a bad day,
right,
you hand them the doll.
So let's talk a little bit more about Alzheimer's and your advocacy, because I know this is so in your heart, and you've done a lot for Alzheimer's and getting the word out. I see you on the news all the time, and I love that. Where, you know, did this come from right after your father passed? Was there a time there where you thought, what can I do? How did you go from the grief to getting out there and spreading the word?
Alzheimer's plagued my grandfather. My grandfather was diagnosed in 1982, passed away in 1997, 15-year battle, and then my dad. But my advocacy started probably in 2013 whenever my dad was moved to Midland to a full-time memory support unit.
Okay.
And I knew that I had a voice, and I didn't know what it was going to be. So I got involved with the Alzheimer's Association. I got involved with the Walk to End Alzheimer's. I raised money to go to Washington, D.C. My first year, I just went, just as a spectator kind of. The next year, I was the ambassador to this area. So underneath Mike Conaway, and it was an honor to be there on behalf of the Permian Basin and just bringing attention to our cause. There would be, 1,600 advocates there, just marching on the Capitol asking for money. And I think at this stage in the game, we're probably at about $7 billion per year to the National Institute of Health our goal was to have a cure by 2025. It just seems like things get set back and drugs aren't, approved by the FDA.
But we'll get there.
Things, yeah.
I am the eternal optimist. And
Absolutely.
I know all your efforts are getting you closer to where you want to see it. What would you say to a family member that is struggling? Because I know this is so hard on the family members when they see the early stages of Alzheimer's and they feel helpless and they feel lost and they feel like no one understands and they have nowhere to go. How would you explain that process?
I'm glad that you brought that up. My grandmother actually passed away 6 months before my grandfather. Her heart gave out, which left my grandfather alone for the remainder of his life. If you're struggling with Alzheimer's, you've got to look out for your caregiver. You've got to make sure that caregiver has all the support in the world that they need from their family. There's also numerous support groups that you can find out about. I think if you go to the Alzheimer's Association, you can learn about support groups. For me, I found it best to whatever my dad said or my granddad did was what it was. If the sky's blue or purple, it's purple. If the grass is orange, then the grass is orange. Don't argue. Don't argue with them. You know the truth. I know it can be frustrating, but don't argue because you're not going to win, and they're not going to remember that argument within the next 30 seconds. It's going to start all over again.
And I think it's like any illness. Every patient is different, and every experience is different, and their moments of remembering are all different at certain levels through the years. At what point do you make that decision? I can't do this on my own anymore.
Oh, gosh. My grandfather was my dad was very easy. He was an easygoing person with Alzheimer's. My granddad was not so easy. My grandmother just finally realized that she couldn't do it by herself anymore. She couldn't bathe him. She, couldn't keep the house secure enough because he was always trying to get out. And then when they lose their ability to be able to manage their finances, that's a big warning sign. When it becomes a safety issue, if you boil a pot of water and you leave it on the stove and you forget about it.
That's a safety issue. Or they're leaving the house daily.
Absolutely. Right. So it becomes more about safety. Where's your loved one going to be the safest?
I'm glad you said that because I think it's a tough decision because family members love this person so much and and you don't want to just say I give up, and it's not about giving up. It's about quality of life for both, of the parties involved, right? And so, at one point, like you said, if it's safety, if it's safety for them and for for the patient and for at that point, what is the next step?
You would have to really have a diagnosis from a physician. Realistically, you can't do a true Alzheimer's diagnosis until autopsy. But with a CAT scan and MRIs and things like that, you can see if the brain is shrinking. And then once you just know that you need help, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, I think that's important. And there's so many organizations here. You mentioned Alzheimer's, Senior Life, that you could of course, ask your family doctor. They will have references as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important to not be scared to ask for help.
But you have to also remember that once you get the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, you've probably already had it for 5 years.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
And are there, we kind of mentioned some things, but are there big warning signs that you go, okay, we need to get tested?
With my granddad, he was a pumper for Mobil Oil, and he would get lost on the lease roads. And so every summer they would hire a summer, kids that were at home for their summer break, and they would go and they would follow my dad around, or my granddad around, on the lease roads to make sure that he could find his way out.
So there were signs.
Yeah.
Just the missing things, or getting lost, or misplacing items.
And just being angry. And because you just have to remember that Alzheimer's is a scary place. It's still one of the only diseases that there's no cure.
Yeah.
So I have friends that, they're insistent upon getting their loved one diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I say, would you want to be diagnosed?
Right.
Because it's a scary, scary journey.
Right.
And, if you're getting that diagnosis, you still know what the disease is. So I don't want to know if I have it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right.
Until there's a
better,
cure.
It's almost better to not know. For a lot of people, they think, well, I just don't want to know.
Absolutely.
Instead of going to the doctor and finding out.
Would you want to know if you had the gene?
No.
I wouldn't either.
No. I know. It's tough.
It's scary.
That is scary.
It's so scary.
Thank you so much for sharing your heart. I'm visiting today with my friend Mary Wright-McCourt, and she is the co-founder of Angie's Babies and Jerry's Puppies. I love this too. I think this is just fantastic that you've added this in the last 2 years. We're going to talk a little bit more in just a minute, but first it is about, we went a little longer than 10 after. It's time for our quote of the day. So I'm going to have you pick out a quote, Miss Mary, and we're going to see what this quote means to you.
Oh.
Which one did you get? You got the inspire.
inspire.
Yes. I think you're inspiring people today to go out there and be advocates.
I hope so.
I think you are.
So do you want me to read the back?
Yes,
of it?
go ahead and read it.
Everyone must choose one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Jim.
Probably my writing, Jim Rohn.
Rohn.
Yes, my writing. Sorry about that. What does that quote mean to you?
Wow, pain comes in so many different forms. Pain of regret. Regretting to live life to the fullest, or regretting not to have been nicer to that person that was checking out your groceries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or not to have been nicer to the person that, needed a shoulder pat on a bad day.
Yeah.
Not to be, not being nice to your coworkers.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the regret of those words coming out a little different than you really had hoped they would have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know. I love that. I think, the world would be a better place if we chose the kindness and chose and not live with those regrets.
I agree.
For sure. Do you have a favorite quote that you live by?
God, there's so many.
I know.
So many.
I know it's a tough
I
one.
know which one.
Or even a motto that you live by that you just think,
Doing to others as you would have doing to you.
oh, that's a good one.
The golden rule.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And I think, once again, the world would be a better place if we lived by that rule.
Absolutely.
Do you name them all? Because I'm just looking at her right now and I'm like, oh, you look like a Susie.
No, because if I name them all, then I'm going to get
You're
attached.
Keep them all.
I'm driving down the street the other day, and I had 150 Angie's babies in the back of my car. And I was like, I hope I don't get pulled over.
I think the cop would understand.
It's kind of creepy.
You're like, okay, so what are you doing with all these dolls?
Do you need one?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
Here
someone to get benefit from a doll.
And I love that. I love the paying it forward that you're doing with this, because I feel like there's nothing better than helping someone with your grief, turning that grief into something positive and helping it grow. And so I'm just so beyond proud of you for what you're doing. And I think it is great. What would you say to someone that has that advocacy in their heart, but they are scared to do it? Because, there's always the fear, we all have fear of failure, fear of trying something new. Will it even work? Will anyone take it? Will anyone want that? You have all these questions. What would you say to someone?
I think if you feel passionate about it, anything, whether it be the smallest of the smallest challenge, probably. I would, if your heart's in it, then you've got if you're passionate about it and you love it, you're not going to fail.
Right.
Even if you help one person.
Yeah.
It's better than being scared and not trying.
Absolutely. What have you learned the most through this journey?
I have learned compassion. I have learned love, the deepest love, especially, for the women that I see that are just tortured by this disease, and people, it's very hard on a family, as you were saying earlier. Some families leave their loved one and they never go back because they can't handle their loved one not knowing them. So when I walk into a facility and there's been nobody there to visit them, it hurts me. It hurts me for them, especially on Mother's Day when you walk through these nursing homes, these Alzheimer's units, and the women are just there. They're just existing. And there's nobody there to say, hey, Mom, happy Mother's Day.
Right.
So now we say, hi, lovely lady, would you like a doll?
I love that.
And then we tell them that we love them, and we hug them. We hold their hands. We treat them like they're people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are.
Yeah.
They are. Like you said, nobody would want. You don't want this. You wouldn't wish that, anyone to go through this. And you see them, and the compassion, like you said, that comes out in your heart. It definitely shows that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So I am just so grateful that you are helping so many people here in West Texas. And I hope this can grow. And I hope that this can. that is my dream for you, is that this can affect everybody in the United States, and that everyone with the Alzheimer's can feel the love that this little, puppy dog can bring, or the baby can bring. What advice would you give to someone that is going through similar journey that you went through? Because like I said, they're all different, and everyone has different stages. But what advice would you give?
You also have to look for the humor.
Yeah.
In day-to-day Alzheimer's life. I've witnessed, people in nursing homes fall in love.
Oh.
I've witnessed, playing Tejano music and watching people dance, listening to Elvis Presley and just being compassionate. I mean, I have had so many ice cream parties, donut parties. My dad, his favorite color was blue, and so we would take cupcakes and cakes, and everybody would look like a Smurf.
Oh, I love it.
By the time it was over with. But you just don't be hard on yourself, and don't be scared to reach out to people.
I love the joy part that you're saying. You've got to keep that joy going, because, I mean, we've all seen The Notebook and cried our eyes out, right, at The Notebook. You have to find the joy in it too. And I feel like he was trying to find the joy every day with her. I could cry just thinking about that.
And then he met her every day over and over again.
And what a beautiful gift for both of them. And and I just think, I love what you're saying, find the joy. And I know you all, outside of here, and I just know the joy in your heart. And you have to find the humor and everything, and you have to find the light. And I think that this is amazing, that the light that you're bringing.
Yeah, and again, they're only at $11.
Yeah, how can someone listening help? And
the puppies are only $13. So
love that.
We have a Facebook page called Angie's Babies, and we have Venmo accounts set up there. But if you wanted to deliver, a doll, you can deliver them to the Alzheimer's Association in Midland. I think it's 4400 North Big Spring, Suite B19. Or you can drop the baby dolls or the puppies off at Lisa Copeland Insurance in Odessa 52nd and Grandview. Or you can Venmo. Venmo's probably the easiest thing to do, because we shop. And it's easier for us to just shop and get these massive quantities.
And that was the easiest for me. I know when I saw your post, I was like, oh yeah, we'll just we can Venmo you to go take it, and then you can get it instantly. Yeah. So,
and if you want to deliver dolls and with us on Mother's Day, your help, we would love to have the help.
Okay.
Delivering dolls. And you can go to Angie's Babies on Facebook. You can look there.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, Mary, thank you so much for sharing everything. I love I just, like I said, I just love what you're doing, and I love how you're helping people, and you are making such a difference in lives. And that's what life's all about. Let's face it. If we can help one person,
Absolutely.
I mean, then you're making a difference, and you are truly making a difference. And so I want to encourage everybody to go on Facebook, like the page, and donate because it is such a wonderful, wonderful cause that you are doing. And I also want to ask you at the end of our show each week, we pick a nonprofit that we donate on behalf of the Krista Escamilla show and our guest, and we always let the guest pick. So I would like you to let me know where you would want us to send our dollars.
Well, I would like to acknowledge someone else's charity.
Okay.
But
you can acknowledge it, but we can still make the donation to yours.
We're just two girls that are out there trying to make a difference. We're not a 501c3 yet. So I would be honored if you would make a donation to Angie's Babies.
We sure will. We will make that donation to Angie's Babies because I want to make sure everyone living with Alzheimer's gets one of your dolls or gets one of the puppies.
Oh, and we also give the dolls to men. If a man wants a doll because it reminds him of his child,
right, then
we give the dolls to men too.
Right. I love that. I think that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for
you're
being on
welcome.
today. I had so many more questions we didn't even get to, but I love that we got to cover so much about Alzheimer's because I think it's one of those subjects that people are scared to ask questions about, and it's scary when you're going through it and you feel alone. And so hopefully our goal is that we made you feel less alone today, and now you know where you can go to support someone, to love someone, to give to someone. And so I appreciate you, Mary, for doing that. Thank you so much.
For having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're so happy to have you. I want to thank everyone for joining us. We also want to encourage everyone to go to YouTube, Spotify, Apples, hit the subscribe button. That way every week when we release, and we are going to start releasing more than once a week. So I really want you to be able to see our shows pop up, and I would appreciate that because the more people that can see this, the more that we can get out great causes and great people in our community and share their stories. So keep hitting that subscribe button and let me know if you have a guest that you would like to sit in this chair next, and we will definitely have them on and share their story. In the meantime, remember to dream big, believe in yourself, and never give up. You make it a great day.
Thank you for joining us for the Krista Escamilla Show. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook for updates and giveaways.